Okay, cool. So this is what we're going to do now. We're going to get Herbert up on stage here. He's going to host the panel with the wonderful Alexandra Mertz. And we got some folks here remote as well. So please welcome on the stage Herbert and Alexandra.
Hey guys. Hello. Yep. Ready. All right, man. Thank you so much, Farzad. My name's Herbert. And just before we go and start, want to give Farzad an incredible shout out. He is the most professional. He is a pillar of our Tesla community. Thank you, Farzad, for doing everything you give. Yeah. So that's what I wanted to say, and then I found out that he's only good because of his producer wife, Cindy. If it wasn't her, I might be just about as good as he is. So I have a YouTube channel called Brighter with Herbert, and because you guys are calling Cindy producer wife, my wife wants to be called Brighter Wife, and she wants to meet you, producer wife, yeah. Okay, so what we're going to show you is a panel. It's a podcast that we do every Tuesday. It's called Cyber Bulls. And it is about people who love Tesla, who love investing. So we're going to talk about that. I'll introduce the panel members. But before we get started, who here loves Tesla? Okay. Who here, raise your hand if you have an investment in Tesla. Do you own Tesla stock? Okay. Now, there's several kinds of investors, and each one of us represent a different kind of investor, and we kind of debate with each other whose style is better. I want to know from you guys, and you don't have to raise your hand if it doesn't fit your style, and you can raise your hand multiple times, okay? So the first kind is, are you a long-term investor? Are you a momentum investor? Just wait. Long-term investor, momentum investor, or you're an options trader? Okay, let's get started. Raise your hand if you're an options trader. If you trade Tesla as options. Just a few folks, okay? Do you believe in momentum trading? So if Tesla was high, like it was last year, did you sell Tesla? Ryan, no way. Okay. So very few people would sell Tesla in this room, okay? Because I think if you buy Tesla in the morning, when it's low, that does not mean you're a momentum investor. Okay, who here is a long-term investor? Like you will just hold it forever. Okay, wonderful. Okay, so let's get started. Let me introduce you to the Cyber Bulls. This is Alexandra Mertz. She is known as, I guess you guys all know her. Yeah, she is Tesla Boomer Mama, and we call her the Power Bull. And the reason why she's a Power Bull is because she gets shit done, right? I mean, she is the person that single-handedly got investment grade credit rating happening. And so she went all in on Tesla a few years ago. And so she started to follow who are the big whales, investment firms. So if you want to follow her Twitter, you'll know who's doing that. And she also has an amazing Substack, and she keeps track of all her latest one is a full deep dive on all the board members of Tesla. So thank you, Alexandra. Welcome.
Thank you, Herbert. Thank you for having me here. And thank you for being also nice to me, because that really helps. I was super nervous, and I think this is going to go just well. Thank you very much.
Okay, next up is Christian. There he is. Christian is our momentum investor. We call him the Stoic Bull. So the guy thinks that he can buy when it's buy when it's low and sell when it's high. He's been timing the market, he told me, since he was 5 years old. Is that right, Christian?
That's a long time ago, Christian.
We can't hear you, Christian. Okay, so he's actually an ex-financial advisor, but do not take anything we say today as advice. But he's amazing. He's actually done well that he's actually retired. He's a little too young to be retired at this point. Okay, next up is Xander. We call him the YOLO Bull. You only live once. He's young, and the guy, now that's a real all-in, okay? You tell me if anybody sold your house to buy Tesla. And tell me if you actually bought a Tesla Semi. Anybody in this room have owned a Tesla Semi?
Yes,
Yeah, one guy, right? Earlier this morning, we had one guy. This guy bought a Tesla Semi. So he has 5 yogurt shops, and he's busy, but four yogurt shops only. Once the 5th one come in, and he is the expert in options trading. So both these guys have been teaching me about momentum investing and option trading. And then we have Jeff Lutz. Jeff is the rational bull. When you hear him talk, you'll hear rational thinking, okay? Not like us. So Jeff this guy is a senior executive at all the big name companies you can think of. You name them, he's been a consultant for them. He's actually consulting now with some big names that we're not supposedly allowed to talk about. He's an expert in supply chain, factories, anything to do with quality. He's the guy that knows what to do. Okay, let's get started. This is Cyberbulls.
Tesla is the most consequential company in the world.
I'm the bull on the EV business. I think the margins are going to explode.
Still the same company. Company is still executing.
The energy is bigger than the auto business.
I'm the young bull that talks a lot of smack.
All right, so the first question is going to go to Alexandra, right? So we just watched an incredible Investors Day presentation. It was a long presentation, right? My first question to Alexandra, the perfect person to ask is, was this the right presentation to the right audience, right? So we heard that there's 250 people there. 200 of them were institutional analysts and 50 people were retail. Was what we saw the right thing for them to do for this audience?
I don't think it was 200 analysts. I think it was about half of them analysts and half of them real investors, institutional investors. Now, I was a fund manager before. If I would have never known Tesla, I think this was very interesting. Much too long, no doubt about it, but once you're in there, what do you do? So they really retraced the whole history of Tesla and the whole future vision. So for somebody who wants to invest on the long term, and that's what Tesla is after, having long-term investor, I think this was the right presentation. Now, was it really lots of new news for us retail investors who are, very motivated and know so much about Tesla and breathe Tesla every day? Probably not. But for that public, for those investors, I think it was exactly what was needed. A little bit too long, but hey, that's it. But the content was there, yes.
Okay, fantastic. Xander, are you here? All right, so this guy made a big, giant bet before today. So most of us here, we said, is long-term investors, right? So we don't care about what happens this week. This guy made an options bet. Can you tell us what you think is going to happen to the stock tomorrow and this week?
So I don't know anything more than you guys do. I just trade around the margins. Most of my portfolio is very long. I haven't been very active, but I sell puts and I sell calls against my portfolio to generate income. And so I had a put open, sold a put of 180 earlier or last week on Friday, and then I closed it out on Monday at about a 75% gain. It's not tremendous money, but it helps pay for any margin interest that you might have if you're playing around with that. But you said options expert. I would not say that at all. I learned this stuff on YouTube, for crying out loud. So don't listen to me. But I did sell some calls out to 250 and 260 for this Friday. So I don't think we're going to get this crazy pop. I think that the investing world still doesn't understand that it isn't just a car company. So until they get it, we're going to continue to trade sideways for a little while.
Christian, is Tesla still a car company? Did what we hear today convince the world that maybe by now we're actually an energy company? Is this finally going to change the momentum and we're going to see the re-rating of Tesla PE? Because you've been very upset with the PE ratio. Tell them everything. Tell them about how it compares to Chipotle. Come on, tell us.
So, yeah. Hey, everybody. I love it. I love this conversation. So I think this was, I think Farzad summarized it well, and I think Alexandra summarized it well. If you don't know Tesla and you don't breathe it and eat it every day, this was a great introduction of what they are. And I absolutely think, of course, I don't know if the market will get it that they're not a car company, but I think more investors will, more institutions will. I thought it was fabulous. My brain hurts after this, I have to say. But I thought it was a fabulous presentation. We got to hear from everyone. We got Tom Zhu. I loved him. He was clear and concise. We heard from, and what I heard, just for the audience, I heard 40,000 a week, which if you equate, that's 2 million vehicles this year or close to it, 52 weeks, right? We kept hearing 40,000 per week. We heard Franz reiterate Cybertruck. That's a big deal, right? And he said it's coming this year. He reiterated that. We've heard that numerous times now. Cybertruck is coming this year. We don't know the exact volume, but that was huge. So we heard some little nuggets that we know, but other people might be hearing, and they get the sense of that this team is confident that Tesla is more than a car company. They talked about their mega packs. They talked about FSD. They talked about the bot. I love the bot. I think that's a game changer for labor. We need labor. And I was thinking maybe a hammer in the hand. We saw it with a motor tool in there. So I love that. I would love to see it in person, but few high points right there. But I thought it was a great presentation. I think it'll take some time to sink in, but I thought overall it was well done.
Okay, surprisingly that you actually got moved by this presentation, because I have a little different opinion on that. So as we were watching this presentation, we were chatting with each other, okay? And a couple of big points happened. One was when Tom Zhu came out, Alexandra was like all over googly eyes, loving Tom Zhu. And I'm like, I'm supposed to be the love of your life. What happened there, man?
Sorry about that, but I was really happy we saw him. I mean, we've been waiting for such a long time, and I think he made a really good impression.
Oh, he did. So, and then the second part that happened was, as soon as we started talking about supply chain, that's when Jeff Lutz got all excited and he started talking about, oh my God, this is the biggest thing that's ever important for Tesla. What did you hear about supply chain and demand?
What I heard is every company that makes auto products or energy products, they have engineers that do industrial design. They have engineers that do vehicle engineering. They have engineers that do factory design. What you heard differently here is they're organized fundamentally differently than other companies. And they bring in-house things that are done at multiple different companies and subcontract it out. And then when you kind of put that final product together, it may not be exactly optimized the way you want it, or you may not be able to recover from a pandemic the way you can at Tesla. So analysts and investors should really take away that this company, and this is very hard to copy, because these other incumbent companies, even newer companies, they're organized fundamentally differently. I would say the newer startups, if they can stay capitalized, they have an opportunity to be more nimble in how they're organized and to be more functional in terms of how they're organized. But this company is organized fundamentally different. You just did not hear just engineers speaking to slides. And they have metrics on themselves around simplification that enables scale, and it permeates through every person in the organization. You heard it in the presentations. It was clearly tied together. I thought it was fantastic.
Okay. So I've got a question for everybody here, but I want to ask the panelist members first. Quick 1-minute answers, okay? Did you guys think you heard something new? Okay, other than Giga Mexico is official, was there something new? Let's go down the list here, and then I want to ask the audience what you guys think.
Well, I won't need a minute because there wasn't much new for me. But I mean, then again, we're every day on Twitter, we're every day on it. And this wasn't for us. Anybody that was hoping to get in and didn't get in, now it's very clear why we were not there, because we knew all that. This was not for us. This was for educating institutional investors, because Tesla wants that money in for the long term, and that's normal.
All right, go ahead, Christian.
Yeah, I agree with Alexandra. I don't think there was anything per se that was new. I mean, I look at my notes. I don't think anything that hit me is, wow, that was completely new. So I think it was geared to the institutions and people that are not invested in Tesla to show what this company is about.
Okay, Xander?
What stood out to me was the slide that had the van and the smaller car, the 300 million and the 700 million. So that was the numbers that were communicated is what I geek out on. So trying to wrap my brain around the scale of the energy requirements, all of those things are. That was the message that I saw, was that we're not just a car company. We are all about energy, and we're very mission driven and very focused on the long term, not just, they said it several times, not the next quarter.
Okay, Jeff.
Yeah, a couple things stood out to me, actually. I was pleasantly surprised. One, I think I predicted, but anyway, a lot of people thought the Gen 3 rollout was going to be a car type. Vehicle type. And what they said is that Gen 3 is a way of engineering and making cars at a much reduced complexity. And it's actually going to permeate in multiple form factors. So Gen 3 is not just a lower tier car. It's going to permeate into multiple form factors. I think that was new to hear, and I thought the energy ramp on the energy side, the Megapack side, looked a little steeper than maybe others have been talking about in 24 and out. So those are a couple things that stood out to me.
Okay, so let's ask the audience. If you guys raise your hand, did you guys feel like there was something new other than the Gigafactory Mexico? If you thought something was new, raise your hands. Okay, that's very few people. And I actually agree with you guys. See, these panel members, they're like lost in their own world. I was disappointed. Okay, I mean, what I was expecting was they were going to show the Gen 3 platform. I thought they were going to talk about the margins for the Megapacks. They talk big picture, but I think as long as they talked about how they're going to reduce margin and operating margin, improve operating margin over time, that's what possibly could make the investment firm wake up. And the question is, are they going to piece that together? You know, no. People are shaking heads. No trust on that. So are we here happy with what we saw? Are we still excited, or were we dejected? Or are we just, Tesla bull fans who are expecting, the robot to come walking and do, flips after 6 months?
I would like to add something to that. I was actually surprised how confident they are already in executing Master Plan 3. I had imagined that Master Plan 3 would give some enormous goals that were, a real unattainable objectives. And they were reassuring from the start, saying, we can get there. We'll make this happen. This may take 10 years, 30 years, but we'll make it happen. So I thought that was quite surprising.
Yeah, but let me ask you this, okay? The very first part of the presentation, they talked about the macro, right? And they talked about Master Plan Part 3. But when I heard it, they were talking about like what the whole world needs to do and that it's achievable. And what I didn't hear is what is Tesla's part in achieving that. They weren't saying we're going to do all of it, were they?
No, they were not saying they would do all of it, but they're going to be a major player in that. There is no doubt about it. But I think it was important to show that that's where the world has to get to, and that's where the world can get to, so that other people do the investments too. Every slide showed the trillions of dollars that need to be invested. I mean, it's not going to be Tesla by itself going to invest all those trillions. These needs governments, these needs a lot of institutional investors and all that. But I think they laid out that this is doable and this is now.
Yeah. So the panel members on remote, what did you guys think about the demand question? I mean, I thought it was already settled. Wasn't it already settled? Why was that continue to be asked? What did you guys think about their answers?
Well, I think demand, we've already been established that we don't have a demand issue. They reiterated 20 million. How many times did they keep saying 20 million? They're still their goal, right? 20 million, and they reiterated that. So that was a sign of confidence to me. Zach was great talking about, cost, taking cost out, right? This was, I think people, and I saw this on Twitter, this was not announcement day. This was investor day. They were giving a broad vision, right? Elon already said, this is for investors and investors of the earth, right? They're trying to get to a sustainable future, right? And how are you going to do that? They can't do it themselves, but I think Tesla is going to be the biggest player getting us there, right? So they laid out a very general and very specific framework on how they're going to do it. And now they have to implement it. They seem confident. Drew Baglino said this is nothing that's out of reach. They showed the scale by saying this is 1% investment over time. We can do this. There's nothing holding them back from lithium and nickel. They can get it. They're going to do what they have to do. And now when you invest in Tesla, you have to trust in them that the team's going to get the job done, right? So that's essentially what they laid out. They laid out for you how they're going to get there. They gave you specifics and they gave you generalities. And now we just have to wait and see how the next few years play out. And I'm confident they're going to get done what they said they're going to get done.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll put Christian. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Xander, please.
I just thought this was a great vision casting, and they did give little nuggets as we're discussing it, like the permanent magnets in the motors. I thought that this was a call to arms for the entire world and the entire industries, or all the industries, to step up, as this is something that needs they need help with. So I don't think it's a product announcement, as you guys mentioned. I think it's a very broad view, and to get people to invest that's what was necessary. Go ahead, Jeff.
I think Christian said it well. It's not announcement day. This is how they're going to get there. And my thesis has always been is that they're going to show the way to scale through economics, and they're going to show their approach internally and how they're organized, how they do their work, how they have their goals and metrics, and when they achieve those goals, how it brings down the total economics of what they're building and makes it more available for people to buy. It's like it's pretty clear. It's not putting the vehicle out there and then saying we'll figure out how to build it. I think they kind of said like that was Tesla 10 years ago, and maybe even a little bit on the Model 3. And now they're more about like, here's where we need to be at in terms of in economics and in volume. And this is how we're methodically engineering. We're organized as a different company with a different approach than other companies that make this stuff to get there. And whatever roadblock is in the way, we're either going to partner with somebody in the industry, and if they can't figure it out, we're going to do it ourselves. So I think as an investor, those are pretty powerful messages, and they're well thought out. They're very well thought out. And finally, I'll just say one thing. I've been leading in supply chain and at mega cap companies for 20 years. I've never heard a head of engineering or a head of industrial design like Franz on the ID side and Lars. I've never heard talk like that in terms of simplification, in terms of bringing the factory team in concurrently. I've never heard that. Does it happen? Yes, it happens at other companies. Does it happen to the extreme? And is it as natural as it is in Tesla? Probably not.
I agree with that. And I think one thing I really kept in my mind was that sentence, no buffers, no waste, right? When they compare it to the OEMs, and I don't even compare anymore, it was just, that's the old way of doing. We did it that way 10 years ago. That's how we do it now. No buffers, no waste. And I also like the little nugget when they referred to Toyota, where tear down the Y, right? I mean, they had to slip it in, and they were clever in doing it. I love that one.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the team, guys. Was it my imagination, but was Drew Baglino like kind of taking over, like having a lot more of a presence? Zach Kirkhorn had a bit of more presence. They presented Tom Jew and then all the others. What'd you guys think? I thought it was good.
I loved Rebecca.
Oh.
Who loved Rebecca? Yeah! I mean, isn't it great that we have the ladies now up there? I mean, she did a great job, very relatable, talking about the charging network. I absolutely loved that. The depth of the bench was great today. I mean, I needed to see that depth for a long time. We always had only Elon and obviously lots of the earnings call, you don't have any images. So I really liked that we saw them all today, that they all had their part to contribute. I mean, some of the stuff I didn't understand the word they were saying, but it all looked impressive. And everybody seems to be so passionate about it.
Well, okay, it's just a little bit controversy here, guys. I'd have to kind of give another different opinion, sorry. But as much as I like Rebecca, she talked about superchargers. And I was hoping that a third of the presentation is going to be about electric vehicles, a third is going to be on batteries, and a third is going to be on energy generation. I didn't want to spend 20 minutes on superchargers, although it's a massive business, it's an incredible competitive advantage, but...
I guess where you were disappointed is you were hoping that we already would have the plans for solar farms and for the windmills
I want
and all that, right?
I want the solar farms, guys,
there
and
I
didn't get my solar farms.
The thing again is there was no particular product announcement, and so there was no particular solar farm. You just have to get over this. This was not about a particular... I think we'll have a Cybertruck day this year. I think we'll have solar days when they come up, but this was not today's date.
What do you guys think?
That modularity of like that slide that showed multiple people working on different components, that's a change, and I'd love to hear what Jeff thought of this. But like the way that you manufacture a vehicle, this is the production line being completely changed. Like I noticed that as you could make components off to the side, right? That to me is the big innovation here is that you're able to, if there's trouble, you can do things on the side without having to, stop the entire line. So, Jeff, what do you think?
I thought it was great. I mean, they're focused on. It's like supply chain 101, but you don't hear it much at companies anymore. They're counting the number of parts they buy. They count the number of parts they make. They count the number of process steps, the number of robots. And they're focused, you even saw that in the 4680 slide. They're focused on maniacally reducing process steps or eliminating them, reducing them in time, reducing them in complexity, or eliminating them. And yeah, their approach to manufacturing and basically having a kind of a parallel process running is smart. I mean, Lars, again, the head of engineering, broke down very clearly that they're focused on velocity and output per square foot or per square meter in the factory. And they know how to measure themselves. And Drew said it. He goes, if you don't measure it, you're not going to focus on it. You're not going to fix it. And they have, if as an investor, I feel very good about what they measure, because what they measure is going to enable the economics, one, and two, it's going to enable the scale.
Okay, let's get back to investing. Okay, I'm going to do another audience survey. So everybody, just if you have Tesla stock, raise your hand. Now keep your hand up, okay, and only lower it if you bought Tesla before 2020. Okay, you keep your hands up if you bought Tesla before 2015. And then keep your hands up if you bought Tesla at 2012. Only like 3 of us, 4 of us, 5 of us. And who here, ooh, kilowatts. There you go. Keep your hands up if you bought Tesla at the IPO 2010.
Good job.
We have one guy.
Yeah. Well done.
Okay. One guy. And the other person that I know that did this is Amy, and she's going to be joining us. She's actually at the factory. She's one of the top 50 with a golden ticket. And she not only bought it at 2010 at the IPO, but she went all in at 2012. So that is commitment. So for people like us who's invested, do you guys feel like, we had a rough year, 2022. What were you expecting 2023? Are you guys happy with where we're at? It's flat. Okay.
I think you should ask the question, who thinks it's going up, who's going sideways, what's going up?
All right, go ahead. Well, let's have Christian. Why don't you ask that question to the group?
I'll respond. Here's what I think about. Tesla from 2019 to 2021, or 2022 even, till we sank. We had an epic run, right? Like a 20x, amazing returns, amazing. The market was full of liquidity, and I get all that. And then we came back to earth. A confluence of events happened with a lot of things going on that I'm not going to get into, but it caused the stock to be depressed. Now we've rallied off the bottom hundredth. I was buying in that area. I saw great value. And now we kind of doubled off that bottom. And now we're kind of consolidating. Now, who knows what's going to happen? But if Tesla can execute this year, and I think a lot of people are thinking their earnings per share is going to go down. So that's why I think the stock has come in. If they can get that earnings per share, grow it, I think Wall Street's at 4. If they could get to 5 or 6, that would be huge growth in the earnings per share, like 25%, 30%, 40%. Then your multiple could stay around here in these 50 area, 50, 60. And if you just throw 5 on 60, you got a $300 stock. So we could still see a nice return into the end of the year. So I think it all comes down to, can Tesla's operating margins hold up? Can they deliver close to 2 million cars? And if they can, and with the mega packs growing and energy being more of a consistent driver of the business, if they can do that, I think they're going to be fine. And I think the stock will hold up well this year.
Okay, what is everybody's estimate of the earnings per share for 2023? We know that the analysts are saying $4. But with this Investor Day, I felt comfortable that they're showing that they can keep the margins up. Bradford, what is your estimate of earnings per share for 2023? And has it changed based on what you saw today? $5.50. And did it change based on today? Not really. So okay, there you go. That's an analyst for you right there, right? Because you are an analyst. You are an investment firm, right? But I'm still at 7. What are you guys at?
Well, I hope they get to 6. I honestly, this is going to be a tough year. They had to reduce prices before they could really cut the operating capex. So let's wait. 6, I think, is a little bit high, but let's hope we get there.
Okay, and what do you guys, Xander, what's your thinking?
It can easily be over 5. I agree with Alexandra that there's things that this year are going to be a challenge, but I really look forward to the Fed making some sort of pause, and then that will hopefully allow Tesla to shine. There's that big. It's scary, right, for an investor in this climate. So.
Yeah, this is what I'm saying though, right? Because we heard Tesla talk about the operating margin. That's what matters. They just spent a whole 2.5 hours telling you about all the ways they can lower the cost of the car. And they shared that to you, but that went over everybody's heads. And we're thinking, no, it was perfect, right? It was perfect. So if the analysts heard that, Larry, you got to come up here, buddy. You can't hear you at all. So
I think you're mistaking the time scale. There's short term, medium term, and long term. Everything tonight was focused on the long term. Somebody asked me at the bar as the presentation was ending, what do you think? I said the market's going to go down $10. Yes. And it did. Why? Because everybody's looking for the next big thing today. It's not going to happen. I mean, what they're talking about is medium to long term. And people are not looking at that. But that's the value. So you're talking about what's going to happen to the stock this year. Who cares? Really, who cares? It's what's going to happen to the stock next year and the year after. And we're going to see some really massive rise. Listen. I lived with Amazon down in the bunker fuels state for years. And we're going to go through that process with Tesla. But, I mean, what they're talking about today was classic Elon. It was all strategic, not local, not today, not tomorrow. It's all strategic. That's what I think.
Yeah, I mean, totally agree with you. We are all in this room long-term investors. We all feel the same way. So I agree with you. So I guess there was 2 things that I wanted to hear, right? One is change the narrative that we're not just a car company, and they talked about energy, but everybody says long-term, long-term, long-term. So forget the impact of the stock this year. And the second thing is margins, right? Can we lower it and stop calling us a car company? We've been re-rated as a car company this year, and I can't stand it that people are saying, yeah, this is the right price. 200 is the right price. It's not. So yes, I agree with you that we're talking long term, but I also don't agree with you that it should be 200 today. So that's just my own thing. I mean, we have this kind of debate every day. What do you guys think? Come on, Christian.
It was Larry who said we kind of just went down to the bunkers. We hit almost like 75% down off the high. So we've taken a beating. So I agree with him. Long term. But here's the thing now. We're going on, we've been around these prices for 3 years now. Overall macros, the stock's had a great run. But, if you go 1, 2, 3, 4 years, I know everybody talks about 2030, but we need to see some progress in the next, I would say 2 to 3 years, right? You don't want to just be languishing for too long, especially if you're executing, right? Because then the market's not understanding what you're doing, right? If your earnings is coming through like Tesla's has been, and we're not getting rewarded for the earnings growth, and we're not getting rewarded for the multiple businesses that they're scaling, and we're not getting rewarded for the innovation, and we're not getting rewarded for the AI talent, we're not getting rewarded for anything. We can sit there all day, but at some point you need to recognize value. And they talked about buyback. That's one way to do it, right? Buy back your shares if you think they're undervalued. That's a great way. Long term, Apple's done it over the last decade. That's where a lot of their earnings growth has come from, and people like Buffett love it. Buy back their stock, right? They've talked about Elon's in favor of it. That's a great way, medium term to long term, to really give shareholder value. So I don't know. I just think these are things now that we're becoming a cash flow machine that Tesla has to think about a little bit more. I know they have grand designs of getting to 2030 and 20 million cars, and I'm on board for all of that. but you also have to look at it from a shareholder value perspective. And, people that hold the stock for 5 or 6, 7 years want to get some return over that period of time. But I agree with the long term, and I agree with what you're saying.
Okay. So, Alexandra, what do you think about capital allocation? You're the person to ask. Were you happy with what you heard?
I didn't hear enough, right? I mean, we were really waiting for certain numbers that institutionals can refer to. It doesn't matter to me today, but hi, Sandy Munro.
We're going to steal you. We're going to steal him. Sandy. Woo! So, Sandy, did you...
Is everybody happy? Okay, it doesn't work. Here. I just asked if everybody was happy. But I really, what I want to do is, I brought some trinkets. So I'm giving some of these away to folks that I know. Here's one for...
Woo! Yes!
Whoa! Very good. Okay, now, how many people here are shareholders?
Yeah, we all are. What's this? What are you giving?
These are what you need.
What is it?
Money clips.
Oh, they're money clips. Money clips.
Money clips.
For shareholders.
For shareholders.
You got to throw it farther.
Wow, look, that guy should be in ball. Woo!
Take off your shirt, Sandy. That's what you did last time.
I'm not taking any shirts off. No way.
One more, yeah. Woo!
Did you get it? Try again. Okay, last time. There you are. Oh, wait a minute. I got 2 more. 1, 2. Oh, and I got one of these. Who wants a thumb drive? All right.
All right, Sandy. So when you saw...
There you go. Okay,
all right.
Now I can... Where'd my beer go?
Yeah. Let me hold your beer. hold my beer.
No, I don't.
All right, Sandy, when you saw that, when they showed you how they can collapse the Gen 3 platform, that they're going to change it so that it's all like coming in together and totally redesign that, did you have a conniption? Did you go crazy, or were you like, yeah, I knew this was going to happen?
I was hoping it was going to happen. We've been, as you probably know, I don't know shit. Just ask any of the guys that are regular OEM kind of people. But we've proposed almost everything that they were talking about. I'm telling you, flat. Elon Musk, I mean,
wait, no,
I can't get anywhere with the other guys, but...
You proposed
Elon
this
Musk,
to Elon, you think?
No, I've been proposing this for like 15, 20 years, but I couldn't get anybody's attention. And now Elon Musk, I'm telling you, that he's like magic. Even if you've got a good idea, you can't get it through with some of these guys. So your shareholders, I'm going to start the day off the right. I think that in probably about 3 years, maybe less, your shares, based on what I saw, are going to be worth about $1,000 each. No problem. No problem. Yeah.
Oh. Now he's going to have to drink your beer. Drink your beer.
Yeah. There we go.
What?
Oh, you should be sitting here. Yeah, so
He has to drink his beer. When he says a statement like that, he's got to like take a drink, take a swig. Do we trust Sandy? $1,000? He's not a financial analyst, guys. So were you? How much margin reduction did you see by hearing the whole presentation, which was designed to tell us how they're doing operation efficiencies? Do you think that it's going to actually reduce margins this year, or like everybody said, oh, that's like 3 years from now? That's a year, 5 years from now.
They said 50%, and I believe it.
When?
I believe next year. So
Boom.
At the end of the day, everybody's saying, "Oh, Tesla won't make any money." Oh yeah, right. Tell me another. They're going to make tons of money. I'm telling you, flat, and they're going to just gobble the market. And if I'm pretty sure there's going to be a couple of early adopter OEMs to jump into the affray with Tesla charging stations, and those guys are going to survive, and the rest are going to be fucked, and that's all there is to it.
Okay, tell the truth. Okay, you got to tell the truth. Were you expecting a reveal of any vehicle today? Gen 3, compact car, the robo taxi. Did you expect the bot to make an appearance like some people were talking about?
No.
Bull, come on, tell the truth.
I did.
Tell the truth.
No, what I was expecting was the Mexican thing. That's the worst kept secret in the EV world, and that came to pass. And that's really the only way that you can hit a $25,000 B-sized vehicle. That's number one, and number two. I can tell you right now because I saw it in the video. So they threw out a bunch of hints. So we walk through the factory. We got the factory tour. And they had hints laying all over the place. And Corey and I, where is Corey anyways? Must be drinking, yeah. Oh, he's over there. There he is. Okay, good. Okay, so Corey spotted that we were walking by this inspection booth / prototype production kind of area, and Corey went over and he said, "Hey, that's not the same inverter. That's got 24 MOSFETs." I see, and he says, "That can't be. That's not the right thing." So we walked over, and they have guards, and Corey walked over and counted them to make sure that there wasn't 16 like you normally see. And then I went over and I tried to find out what else was going on. And I saw this casting that didn't look like anything I ever saw before that came out. So that was one thing that was a big deal. And that's for that inverter will be for something big. Like it may be for the what do you call it? The cyber truck, but I bet you it's more for something bigger than that. Maybe the semi. Yeah. So, and then my best thing, I've been talking on my channel or our channel for quite some time about, hey, you know what? Tesla should go to hairpin motor design, and I'm sure that means nothing to everybody here. But at the end of the day, there's two kinds of motor designs. The one they got right now is like a wound motor, but a hairpin motor increases the power by 30%. And, yoo-hoo, yes, and on top of that, we were supposed to not talk about it because it wasn't public domain, but they showed it on the video being, all the tabs being welded together. So now it's public domain, woohoo! So I'm really happy about that too. So those are the three things that I really am excited
and
about.
It sounds like it's real, not something that's going to happen 3 to 5 years from now, like some people kept saying. So I don't know. Maybe margin might be impacted this year? No? Okay.
I'm telling you what, they're going to make a shitload of money. I'm not allowed to buy Tesla stock straight out, but my agent who takes care of my money, she said, "Oh, Sandy, I think that we're going to invest in Tesla stock."
What'd you say?
I said, "Well, if you must." Yeah. So that's hands off. I didn't do it. So, woohoo! I may be able to retire one of these days with Tesla stock. Yeah.
Yeah. That's secret information. Did you see the potential induction charging? So in one of the photos.
Charging, I know that they're going to do it for sure because everybody is looking at it and figuring out how to make it happen. And but I think that the big deal is when they said that they were going to lengthen all the plug attachments, like for charging. When I heard that they were going to extend them by I think 2 meters, 6 feet, that basically told me that the next stage will be an induction charger instead of pulling in and muscling through the winter weather. If you happen to be in Michigan, this way you just drive up, stop, have a coffee, and then get charged up and get out. So
can we have a shout out for Ryan? Ryan, kilowatts. Hey, buddy. Woo-hoo. You've done an amazing job with chargers, superchargers everywhere. You found bugs. You found the secret information. Oh my God, that guy's brilliant. You know kilowatts?
Yeah, I can barely see. All I can see is that big bright light over there and this one over here. Totally blind. I have no idea. I could see that one guy waving, looking for a prize, but I don't think he got one. Did you get anything? Oh, what did he get? I cannot tell what? Oh, a money clip. Oh, very good. Okay,
So
good.
do you not get, as Munro Associates, don't you guys get private tours of the gigafactories? Why, no?
Are you shitting me? Okay, so let's talk about why I'm here and who got me into Tesla.
Who got you into Tesla?
And Rebecca right there.
Oh, yeah, how did it, what?
And Matt.
How did that happen?
Here's the deal.
Yeah.
Here's the deal, boys and girls. He got us in, but he did not get in himself. Thank you.
Oh, right.
Sincerely.
How did you pull that strings?
There's the other half. And by the way, if anybody wants to buy a really expensive house, just call Matt Home. Matt Home. Yeah. He sells really expensive. And he's letting us sleep in his condo that Corey and I couldn't afford the living room in. Yeah.
Yeah, but so you mean you have to get somebody to give you a ticket? You don't have like special one, bat line with Elon. Hey, Elon, I'm coming.
Hang on a second. You need to know the real story behind this. What? What that?
Corey saying no. Don't say anything.
No, that's for
do
another
not say
time.
anything. No.
That's for another time. No,
All right.
Really?
Don't say anything. All right. This
What?
is on the internet. Don't say anything. Corey said your boss. Corey's your boss, right? He's the president of Munro. She said,
I got a shitload of bosses.
No, he's your
I got
boss.
a wife. I got Corey.
Your
I got
wife.
the finance people.
Your
Everybody's
wife.
my boss. Everybody says,
don't
shut
say
up.
it. Corey said don't say
Yeah.
it. Okay. Corey. Hey, I have to have a picture like this because you did it with Farzad. Okay, look at that. I did more for you than Farzad did, right? In my video. What's that? Oh, hi, good to see you. Where do you want me to sit? Hey, so Corey, what was for you when you were walking and giving that tour? You saw things, right? What were you looking for? Like, you guys are nerds, man. You're looking for things that I wouldn't look for.
Well, first of all, we kept getting stopped. Sandy got stopped every 50 feet by institutional investors. It was wild. So the tour was supposed to go along, and Sandy and I are looking at every little thing. So that thing he described, that inverter that we saw, is something I've never seen. We've torn down every single Tesla that's been built. So we were literally sketching what it looked like. We were writing down the form factor.
Sorry. It's been a long day. Yeah. Anyway, in my pocket I got my little sketchbook. Corey sketched it out, and that's where I got all of the all my notes.
So, and the biggest takeaway I saw was the announcement of transitioning to a 48-volt architecture for the whole vehicle, particularly because they're going to insource 100% of the electronics. That is huge, absolutely huge, because the entire Tier 1 and Tier 2 supplier base has been 12 volt for the past 50 years.
More than that.
100 years.
100 years in.
So being able to control all the electric architecture and shift to 48 volts is going to cut so much weight and waste out of the vehicle. They're essentially departing from the entire automotive industry and saying, do this or fall behind.
Right. The other thing that you should know is that I'm doing this from memory, but this will save 50% of the weight. 50% is a big number in harnesses and whatnot for communications anyway, for the 48 volt stuff. There's a lot of low voltage stuff that's inside your car. It doesn't matter to you, but it makes a big difference when you start saying, I want to go to 40. Higher voltage means smaller diameter wires, basically. And that's kind of like what you're going to see coming up really quick. And here's the other thing. When Elon takes Tesla into the 48 volt system, guess what? He just created a new market. the new market will be selling those switches and solenoids and everything else that's now in 12 volt. These clowns that were in the tier 2s and actually 2 kind of guys, they're going to get left in the dust. So not only are you going to make money basically on cars and on the electrification of the rest of the fleets inside of the United States, and the what do you call it, power generation systems that he's putting up all over. Now you're going to be in the tier 2 supply community. What a genius! I tell you.
What was your reaction or thoughts about the software controlling the hardware? And they spent a lot of time on saying that they can actually measure everything that's happening, and they can now control the hardware if they improve the software.
Well, that's the way it works right now. But what they actually said was there's something new that they're doing with software. So what they're doing is they're taking a module, and instead of having a harness that goes here and it has a connection that goes over there and there's a little jumper cable or something like that, what they're going to do is they're going to use little isolated modules, and they're going to it's basically going to be direct. And so anybody that knows something about efficiency knows that when you go direct, it increases the efficiency of everything. So that means that you're going to move faster. And you think that, wow, I switched on the light, and the light switch, but when you start looking at how quickly you need to have reaction time in an accident and things like that, this is what do you call it, edge computing. And that edge computing is really going to increase the speed that the rest of the computers can use. Plus, it's lighter, and it's a lot cheaper. It's a lot cheaper.
Okay. I'm gonna broker a deal right now. Okay, Xander, get ready. Xander bought a Tesla Semi. I'm gonna let you guys buy it off Xander so you can rip it apart.
How much is it gonna cost us, Xander? Did I tell you I like you the best?
Oh!
I really do. Yeah. I don't care about anything.
I'm the agent, okay? Xander, sell it to them.
We don't even know how much it's going to cost yet.
Say it again.
I said we don't even know how much it's going to cost yet. When we booked it, which was on the last day in the last few hours, which was a total coincidence, but it was the $180,000 price. But if you look at it, you're just getting in line with the reservation, just like the Cybertruck. So, but hey, we have some plans for it, but we're open to discussions.
Sell it to them.
500?
It's Bradford.
Throw that guy out.
Bradford.
Only Corey can afford $500,000.
Okay, who owns a Cybertruck, and who's got an early reservation of Cybertruck, and who's gonna okay, then who's gonna sell it to them?
I thought you were talking about the Semi. Sorry.
Oh, no, we weren't talking about Semi.
Oh yeah,
yes.
he's talking to Semi.
No, I'm not talking about Cybertruck
I got
now.
5 of those. We got 5.
Oh,
of
you
those
got
on
5?
order.
Yeah, but who gets the early reservations? You want to give it to them? Sell it to them? Nobody wants to sell it to you.
We were in on the first 5 minutes.
Wait. Ryan from Kilowatts has 51 Cybertruck, 52 Cybertruck. Who here has more than 52 Cybertruck reservations? No one, except for Ryan.
Wow.
So you give it to them.
Grace, where's Grace? Grace? Sorry, never mind, Grace. Aaron is looking for a really hot guy, and you obviously are, that's got a shitload of money. Aaron is one of our gals, and I was going to mention Grace because she was looking for a prince.
I'll stop him.
You don't quite look at
Your
princely
boss
enough.
just told you to stop it. This is on the internet. The boss just said so.
Inappropriate, Sandy.
Yeah, inappropriate. But you know what? That's my middle name. Alexander Sandy Inappropriate Munro. Yeah.
Wait, your name is Alexander too? Because we have Alexandra, we have Xander, and you got Alexander. Exactly. All right.
And actually, I just met an Indian guy. His name's Sikandar. And
Sikandar?
Sikandar and Alexander's the same. That's why I got Sandy. It's a long story, but a lot of guys from Scotland went to India and
All right.
on and
So,
on.
Corey,
Yeah.
how do you handle this guy? What is he like working with, man? Does he listen to you, or like, are you the boss? Or he's the boss?
He's the boss.
You just have the label that says president.
He owns.
No, he's the president.
Yeah. So It's tough. It's every year I add about 3 to 5 years on my life. I'm actually getting some gray hairs. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I appreciate it. No, but dealing with Sandy is really a joy because I spent 18 years with this guy, and I spend more time with Sandy on a yearly basis than my wife and children. We were on the road.
Inappropriate.
We were on the road for 100 days last year. Vietnam, Japan, our road trips, 11 straight days in a car, 20 hours of driving most of those days.
How did you experience the other people there today? Did they know something about Tesla? Did they ask the right questions? You know, the institutionals around there, how did you feel about them?
I found that the institutional investors were asking basic questions. And clearly the presentation, particularly the back half, was geared towards convincing them to invest for the long term. Elon even qualified the Q&A with, hey, don't ask any like quarterly projection numbers. We want long-term investment. And my favorite part of the presentation was actually when they went over the operating expenses, particularly how they have their own internal software team that applies the same methodologies that they do on their cars on how they operate their actual business. And that struck a chord with Sandy and I because we use all sorts of third-party softwares to process our AP and our everything, our HR, and it's a huge pain. And if we had an internal software team that developed elegant software solutions for our business, that'd be phenomenal. So hearing that is not something that you would hear a large OEM bragging about because they just don't do it. They rely on third-party companies to develop software services. So I really like that portion.
Yeah. So when you, seriously, when you start fooling around with CapEx and your internal operation systems like AR and AP and whatnot, most people just, they don't care about that. But here's the deal. A well-run company knows the big shots will know exactly how much money's in the bank, how much their AP and AR are exactly. And quite frankly, I have to take my hats. Okay, so another thing that I've been criticized for by not just the automotive OEMs, but OEMs in general is vertical integration. I'm a huge fan. When Elon started talking about vertical integration and what he's doing, the general population basically said that's stupid. You don't want to do that. You want to hand stuff out. But here's the deal. When you hire a tier 1 guy, he has to make money. He has to buy from a tier 2 guy. He has to make money. He has to buy from a tier 3 guy. He has to make, and all the way down to tier 6. And what I was really shocked with was, I can't remember what the guy's name was. I can't remember which. Anyhow, I'm not really good with names. But anyway, one of the guys that was making their presentations today said, we're dealing with tier 6. These are guys that basically have gravel that they grind up. That's tier 6. And Tesla is looking all the way down so they don't get caught in a situation where, you've got children in what do you call it, Congo, scraping around with a trowel trying to get cobalt out of the ground. I mean, this kind of stuff, that shows real leadership and real humanity. You don't see too much of that when you've got I hate to say it, MBA kind of people. You got to focus your attention on the world. In fact, that's what the whole topic today was. What can we do for sustainability in the world, not just a car? And that's like elevated to godlike. Yeah.
Okay. I have a question that I know a lot of people wanted to ask you, which is a few days ago, Toyota came out and said they took apart the Model Y. First of all, why didn't they pay you guys to do that? And then they said, oh my God, this is the greatest thing ever. Then Elon and Tesla said, this is great. Come on, give it to him. Give him the mic. Give him the mic.
Not a chance. No. Here, I will tell you one thing. The day that Toyota with a D got sacked or pushed aside, whatever you want, and Sake-san showed up, that was the day that I changed my mind on. I figure that VW's got a lot of issues. I have no idea how they're going to pull out. I don't know how they're going to get any success. That's one. Toyota was right behind him with his stupid hydrogen shit. And when what's his name came along. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize there were so many anti-hydrogen. Yeah, anyhow. Anyway, you look this way, and now Sake-san is going, we're going that way. And that guy, because Toyota turns much faster than they're the biggest car company on the planet, and they can turn really, really quick. And so I'm expecting that now you're going to see, at least I'm going to predict 3. Number 1 is Tesla. Tesla is going to be kicking ass. Number 2, right now anyways, is Ford. Number 3 is Toyota. And then there's a bunch of other pretenders that are underneath.
You think number 3 is not...
Who?
Wow. Kia
and Hyundai, they're in that group, but they're in high up. So Rivian, Kia, Hyundai, and Geely, who owns Volvo, Polestar, Linko, what's it?
Lincoln Co.
Lincoln Co. and the other one, can't remember. Oh?
Lucid.
Next question.
Okay, well, first of all, I'm shocked, but I
Don't buy
cannot
Lucid.
argue with Sandy. I did not think that Toyota will survive, and let alone be number 3. But, sorry?
I got something to add on the Toyota
go
thing. So think of the context of the statement from Toyota. Yesterday, they're marveling at the Model Y. Model Y, their work of art. And today, Tesla announced their next generation vehicle, which will be 50% the cost of the current Model 3. Think about what that means. Tesla's making a step change improvement to cut their cost by 50%. And we costed a Model 3. And you remember what it cost when we costed it? $35,000.
$35,000.
That's what our should cost was. And in 2022, Elon Musk said the cost of their Tesla Model 3 was about $35,000.
Right.
So we predicted what it should cost Tesla to build their Model 3 back in 2018. And 50% of $35,000 is what? About 17 grand, 17.5.
Yep.
You can sell a $25,000 vehicle if it costs $17,500 to
and
build.
make more money than everybody else. Because at the end of the day, no one on the planet makes more money per car than Tesla.
Okay, can you guys give me and Farzad an exclusive? Say something that we haven't heard yet. Will you please give me a prediction of which car company do you think will go down and go bankrupt first?
I got something in my eye. Corey is in my eye. This is kind of like.
Okay, I'm not allowed to ask you that. My boss just told me I can't ask you that. Sorry.
Oh, good. Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's move on. Hey.
Why not?
How about them taggers? Yeah, right. Okay.
All right, fine. I can't ask you that question. Sorry.
No, we can't do stock predictions. Now, if I was
You just
like
did.
Hindenburg,
You just said when you walked up here, you said $1,000 in 2 years.
Sandy, this is on the internet, remember?
Yeah, I know. So here's the thing. That's why we have to move away from that. So I would like to tell you that's the cutest dog in the whole place. Yeah, there you are. But you know what's really pisses me off? And I can't stop? Why is it that Hindenburg can destroy a company and sell short? Why is it that they can get away with that? But if you encourage somebody to buy in a stock, you get thrown in jail. So you've got some clout. You got congressmen and senators. Ask them, phone them up and say, hey, before I write this check to whether you're a Democrat or Republican or communist or Nazi, I don't care which. Before you write a check, ask them, are you going to do anything about short selling? Yeah.
Can we have the panel members
So
here?
Corey
Christian,
is getting very unhappy. So
Christian,
I'm gonna pass.
Xander, and Jeff, can you guys ask a question? You want to ask them? You've got them on the panel here. Go ahead. What have you been burning to ask Sandy and Corey a question?
No, I love the discussion. I love the interview you did with Corey. Very insightful. I love Sandy's humor. You're cracking me up tonight. I love it. So I guess the question I would ask is, so tonight you've seen a lot without giving any trade secrets away. We know Tesla's way ahead, and Corey just talked about costs going down, from 35 to 17,500, which is incredible. Do you see, and this is just a general question, do you see with the reduction of the sales price that Tesla has announced, do you think that their gross margins will hold up with the cost of the car coming down and the efficiencies they made in the new factories? Do you see the gross margins holding up where they were last year, or do you see more of a dent in those margins? I would love to know that.
Sandy's
I see it.
Sandy's gathering his thoughts.
Yeah, I was listening when they were talking. I just don't. I was writing an awful lot, but I can't remember where it was. But it doesn't really matter because when you drop the price by 30%, and that's kind of like the number that I've got stuck in my mind. I can't remember anybody's name, but I do remember numbers and I do remember designs. And I think that what they said was they're decreasing the cost of the Model 3 and the Model Y by about 30%. When you decrease the the cost by 30%, and then you come back and you say to the general buying public, "Hey, you know what? We'll toss you a bone, and it's still going to be more than everybody else. It's still going to be 30%." I mean,
Sandy has been sipping on that the whole hour. He comes up and you've been sipping on your beer the whole day, and he's like, takes your seconds.
I drank it.
Anybody else? Xander or Jeff, you want to ask him a question?
Yeah, I was going to ask if Corey would chug a beer. No, I was going to ask if you saw anything related to the construction or individual components of the Cybertruck that were surprising or different than what you perceived before the tour.
there was nothing super different. We saw that it had air suspension, and we knew that before. The lines look a lot crisper. This is a pre-production kind of car, so I'm pretty happy about that. We weren't allowed to get too close. They had a red rope and people in back of it that were bigger than me. So actually, here's a little funny story. I told I talked to the guy and I said, really what I want to go and see is I want to see how you've implemented the Hydra presses. And he says, well, we're not going to give that in this part of the tour. And I said, come on. I said, where is it? He says, well, it's over there. And I said, well, how about if I just strolled over there and, you know, and the guy said, I don't think that would be recommended. So I said, well, why not? He said, well, you see those 4 big guys over there? They could kick your ass. Okay, fine. So and they were big. They were a lot bigger than where I was. So Corey could have taken them, but then he would have ran away and left me. So, and that's true. You think I'm just jerking you around, don't you? That is exactly the conversation. I couldn't get over there, so I would have loved to have reported on that.
Did it have a window?
Yes, it did.
Wind wiper.
It had one window wiper, one huge one.
It is there.
Along the driver's A-pillar. The rearview mirrors were little triangles.
Yeah, little triangles.
I posted a picture on my Twitter.
Yeah, and that's all you really need, because eventually you're going to be ripping them off, because sooner or later, the guy in Nishta that says we have to have rear view mirrors because back in '54 when I got my job we had rear view mirrors, and I don't want to lose my job until I get retired or died. And that's the only reason we have rear view mirrors, because they don't have them in Europe. Why have we got it? What's wrong with a little teeny camera that you can actually see that'll never frost over? On and on. Oh, go ahead.
Okay. Can you settle a debate? So I've been saying that the Gen 3 platform, the robo-taxi specifically, the dedicated robo-taxi, is going to be built on the Cybertruck platform, not the 3 and Y. Am I wrong?
Yes.
Or am I right?
No, they mentioned it today. They slipped it in.
What they slip in?
They said the next gen platform, and then they said the variant for the robo-taxi. It was
Yes.
very subtle. I remember it.
I heard that, yeah.
So they mentioned next gen, not Gen 3, next gen and robo-taxi. So I think it's going to be on that platform.
The 3 and Y?
No, the next gen.
Which is what platform?
I think it'll be smaller.
It's going to be a new platform?
So there I have a question, Corey, because in the interview with Herbert, you said it will be a better decision to go for the van than for a compact car. Do you still have that impression tonight?
I still do have that impression because when you're trying to move a lot of people, you don't want something that's small like a Model 3 or even a Model Y. Sandy and I have been driven around the whole time we've been here, which is really nice. But every time it's a Model 3, you kind of jam in there. A Model Y is better and a Model X is amazing. So having something even bigger will actually be more ideal for moving people, especially for people who are either older in age or have disabilities. You want something that's larger. I think
You still think there's a bigger one first before the compact?
I don't think it'll be first. No.
I think that Elon Musk is a greedy guy, and I think you'll have both, and they'll probably show up at the same time. Yeah. So
All
there
right.
you go.
I'm going to put my hand over these guys. You guys clap. How much do you guys like Corey? How much do you guys like Sandy? So you got work to do, Corey.
Yeah, I know.
It's not going to work. It's not going to happen.
But the thing is, I mean, I'm old. I'll die pretty soon, and
Oh.
Corey will take over completely. Yeah.
Whoa.
I'll retire then. How's that? Yeah.
Oh, no.
Okay, good. My wife will like that answer better anyway. Yeah. So there you go.
We can't have you retire. You're too important to this community. We don't know the information you know.
You know what? Pretty soon, you believe it or not, I truly, strongly believe that in the not too distant future, the other guys will be looking for, like everybody else that isn't here tonight, they'll be looking for a hero, somebody to bring him back to the Ice Age, somebody that'll, talk about the good old days. And the crowd for Tesla will be basically everywhere. What's the Duke of, the Dukes of Hazzard. But you got to worry about what was the name of that girl with the Daisy Duke. If she shows up, then the whole thing's off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you shitting me?
Yeah.
Okay.
What is it?
Stand up.
This is the guy.
This is Corey Steuben.
Yep.
And he sorted it out. He sorted it out before anybody figured it out.
Yeah.
Right there. Right there.
It's body side in outers in racks, and I even found an image on the internet of exactly what they look like, not all darkened out. I posted it on my Twitter and it got like 1 million views. And essentially, it's very clear. It's just racks of body side hours. But what they were trying to say, if you look at his shirt, it's supposed to imply the massive scale, because each one of those racks holds anywhere from 8 to 12. So just that image, or the image on our invitation, represents 1 day's worth of production.
So,
Yeah.
Corey, that is a side panel, right? So what about all of us who are wishing and hoping that there's going to be a single stamp, and you guys have said no, Elon has said no, this doesn't make sense.
So think of the tonnage of the machines. Currently, they have a 6,000 ton press that makes the front piece and the rear piece, total of 220 pounds, about 100 pounds each. You're going to need a press that can cast even more than that, probably 600 pounds.
People think that that's what was sent to China.
So you'll need a press even bigger than 9,000, because the amount of tonnage you need to fill up a part that big is astronomical. The machine doesn't exist right now. So unfortunately, I just don't think that physically it's possible, but the machines don't exist
Even
right
for
now.
a compact car, because people are saying that that's why they saw the GigaPress being sold to China. They go, it's red, so it must be for Tesla.
I think you could get maybe 3/4 of a car, maybe the front and then most of the rails, where we have 2 gigacastings that connect, but I don't think you can get the whole thing yet.
And it seems the opposite to what we saw, which is instead of one cast, they said, I'm going to make a bunch of modular parts that are connected together.
Well, that's what GM is doing. They're getting into casting, but they're using semi-permanent green sand kind of molds. Those aren't my first choice. They didn't want to spend the big money. And you were mentioning China. China, they bought, so Hydra Press, the guys that Tesla uses, they didn't get that order, and it was a Chinese press company that owns Hydra. They got them, and now they're scrapping them out, and they're putting in what's the name of those things? Anyways, the guys from Switzerland, they're using their presses, and they work really well. So Hydra and the Swiss company that I can't remember, what the hell's their name?
I don't remember.
B. Anyways, those two guys are, they make the presses that can make things happen, but only Hydra can make a 9,000 ton press and an 8,000 ton press reliably. So there you go.
All right, everybody. So this is Cyber Bulls. We have a regular video podcast every Tuesday on my channel, Brighter with Herbert. And you can see how the most important people show up. And we have great debates with stocks and investment. And of course, we all love Tesla. So thank you guys very much. This was a great show. Thank you for helping us pump us up.
Hey, no problem.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
And you're going to promise that I'm going to have a time with Sandy, my interview one-on-one?
Oh, yeah, he wants an interview with you.
Yeah, well, come on.
Okay,
Before you
good.
retire. Come on.
Yeah, he's a good interviewer.
Yes, thank you.